We're gonna get started with our Vancouver Anime Club and Mascot Lore panel, hosted by SFU Anime and UBC Anime. Woo! Alright, so we are your hosts. My name is Ono. I'm a 5-year exec for SFU Anime. I was their former president, but I'm their current their current projects manager. I was an events manager, coordinator, and social media coordinator, and graphic design coordinator. I did too much for the club, basically.
And my name is Jenny, but everyone calls me Paul.
Oh yeah, my real name's Justin. I forgot about that.
I'm current creative director for UBC Anime Club, and I'm also on the volunteer team for SFU Anime Club. I've been a part of UBC Anime since I was 13 years old, or like in 2018. And I only became an exec 2 years ago, and I'm planning to stay on the team basically until I graduate. As for SFU Anime Club, I actually joined their team before I was an exec for UBC. It was back during quarantine, when I had nothing to do, and I drew a lot of mascot art, and I was scouted by Ono here to be part of the team, and I've been on the team ever since.
Nice. You figured out how to use Mentimeter. You can put dots all over our presentation slide. So if you haven't already joined our Mentimeter slide, feel free to scan the QR code or go to menti.com and enter the code 1198723. It will also be at the very top of all of our slides at the go to www.com.
Yeah, the little banner at the very top.
Alright. Looks like we got 6 cats on this slide. Wow, that's pretty cool. All the cats. All the cats are cut off on the slide, so we can't see the cats. Alright, we got 9 cats, so that means we're moving on to the next slide. Okay. So, we're gonna just briefly talk about the club lore first. So, we start on the left, my right, your left. The beginning of time. And then we have 1996, where UBC Anime is founded. And then 2011, where we host the first summer festival. 2013, where SFU Anime is founded. And 2016, where both clubs create their Discord servers. And then there we are now in 2023. Cool. Alright. So what is SFU and UBC Anime? Feel free to put a little dots if you've been to any of our events before. But we host a whole bunch of weekly and big monthly events such as icebreakers, holiday-themed events such as Halloween, Christmas, Valentine's. We do lots of off-campus events too, so like movie outings. We also did like ice skating outings, skateboarding outings, and you don't need to be a university member to go to our club. Our events are usually open to the public. They're catered for anybody.
It's basically the same thing for UBC Annie, except we have events every Friday that are free and drop in. They're on UBC campus, and all of our events are also open to anyone who is not a UBC student. So because our clubs are so close to each other, we often go to each other's events, or we do collab events. For example, the SFU UBC Annie One Piece movie outing on the very right, that was a collab event between both clubs.
Yeah, and basically when we create events, we just want to aim to create an environment for people to meet other like-minded anime fans. A lot of anime fans, they don't just like anime, they like gaming or music or stuff like that. So it's really cool to make, like-minded people, meet like-minded people. All right. So, what is the Summer Festival? So, SFU Anime also hosts our own anime convention every year called the Summer Festival. It had its 10th anniversary last year. It's a free anime convention, very similar to Fan Expo. We have an artist alley with a lot of the same artists that are in Fan Expo's artist alley. And it's hosted in Convocation Mall. We also have lots of games, food, kind of like a Japanese Matsuri style festival. And it's run by student volunteers and other SFU Anime Club execs. This year's Summer Festival should be hosted sometime in the 2nd or 3rd week of July, so feel free to follow us on social media at SFU Summer Festival to find out more. But how do we go from this, which was our first ever Summer Festival in 2011, note the name ARC Summer Festival, not SFU Anime Summer Festival. How do we go from ARC Summer Festival, the very first Summer Festival, to something like this, which was our 2022 Summer Festival? If this video was like, cool, yay, okay. Oh, it has audio. But yeah, so how do we get from a small kind of flea market style festival to something as big as, well, Fan Expo? about something as big as fan. So, oh, cool, this YouTube recommendation. How do I go to the next slide? Well, we got through that through SFU Anime. So basically, what happened was ARC, which is alternate reality club. They do D&D, roleplay, and all that. They also had a section for anime watchers as well. And then as the years grew by, anime became a larger part of their fandom and engulfed ARC club. And we kind of split off like a tumor and created SFU Summer Festival. So over the years now, SFU Summer Festival is part of SFU Anime. We're the ones that run it ever since the second year, and we've been running it ever since 2013. What else have I talking about? Yeah, I forgot. But anyways, and ARC was what helped SFU Anime start off in the first place as well. All of our members kind of moved away from ARC and created their own club because they were inspired by ARC. And then we have stuff like club traditions where if you're SFU Anime, like when you graduate, you must bow down to our goddess, our mascot Ren, in order for her to free you from the university. We'll talk more about our mascots later. And then I also want to talk about anime clubs and our Discord communities. So in 2016, what's the word for it? What we call UAD and SAD, or UAD and SAD, was formed.
Wow.
But yeah, there are beloved Discord communities, huge servers that a lot of us frequent every single day. We check a lot if we're in an anime club. And Discord is a really powerful tool to create communities, as it lowers the barrier for social relations, essentially. So first thing, you have anonymity. Nobody really knows who you are, so you can kind of play a little character, or you can express certain sides of your personality that you wouldn't really express in person because maybe you might be more shy or introverted. And because of the nature of, I forgot about my YouTube recommendations. Okay. And because of the nature of Discord, with all of the different channels, it helps our anime club branch into other communities that our members are into. So for example, while we're an anime club, SFU Anime infamously like to advertise that while we're an anime club, nobody in our club actually watches or talks about anime because we're all focused on things like gaming, music, art, stuff like that. So it's just a really easy way to get to know other people without having a physical in-person presence, especially as, for example, UBC can be so far away from people that live in Surrey. SFU is on top of a mountain. Nobody wants to stay on top of that mountain. So we use Discord to kind of communicate with each other. And with Discord, we can host a lot of different events, such as before I showed the Minecraft build contest. But before we had the Minecraft build contest, during quarantine essentially, a lot of people moved to Discord, and it helped grow our audience by a lot because nobody had anything to do during Discord but be online. And because of that, more people checked out anime. Anime became slightly more mainstream. And SFU Anime decided to put more of a focus on our Discord and host online events. So we hosted stuff like Game Fest, SFU Game Fest, which was a week-long activities of different events like Minecraft build contest, art contest, all of that. And then recently, Jazzy, our president, and I hosted the SFU Anime Awards, where we did our own version of the Crunchyroll Awards with all of our members. If you can kind of see at the bottom here, we were just in a VC, and people talking are kind of represented by their icons, and then people are also talking in chat on the left about our trash taste on anime as a community. We voted Bocchi the Rock as best anime of 2022. I hope all of you guys agree with this. I see that. Let's go. But yeah, because Discord is able to generate a community like this, Discord is just a very powerful tool to connect with others. I see a lot of familiar faces in here because all of these people I talk to on Discord, and then because of that we became close friends. Additionally, members from both UBC and SFU Anime, members that would have never interacted with each other because of Discord, because it's so easy to join in another server and talk about our hobbies and interests and get to know one another. That's why Talk, even though she's a UBC student, she ended up volunteering for SFU. Right now, UBC and SFU Anime are boothing together at the same table on the other side of the convention. I see a lot of UBC and SFU Anime faces in here, as well as Kyo, who's not even a UBC or SFU student. But yeah, so we're just like a club that's open to the public. We try to be as warm and welcoming to as many people as possible. Yeah, and because of the fact that we can open up to so many different types of members, that leads to a lot of club collabs. Okay, I can't go to the next slide. Okay, there you go. So we have events such as Daigakusai, which is, imagine this is like the Avengers of all of the lower mainland anime clubs. We bring together UBC, SFU, BCIT, Langara, KPU, and Capilano anime clubs together to host a gigantic event where we all get to meet each other for the first time in person. A lot of us, for example, in this picture, have met each other, talked to each other, or even like given life advice to each other online through Discord, but we've never actually seen each other in person before. So then we host events like Daigakusai where we can finally all be in one big room. Unfortunately, over the years, COVID happened, and Langara, KPU, Capilano, and BCIT Anime are no longer with us. I see some rumblings around in BCIT Anime that it might come back. They might be hosting events again, but at least UBC and SFU Anime are kicking strong, and we hope to bring back Daigakusai hopefully this summer. And then we also have our online side as well, online collaborations such as Inktober. Every year we try to do a Inktober event where we collab with other clubs. So our first one was called Lamautober, where we
It stood for Lower Mainland Artist October.
Yeah.
And at first it was a collaboration between SFU artists, SFU Anime, and UBC Anime. And from that, it was a great success, by the way. We got like a lot of submissions from all three clubs. And from that, we decided to reach out to different anime clubs across Canada. So I think the total, I don't know, do you have the list here?
Yeah, we have. So this happened in the last October where we collabed with SFU Anime, UBC Anime, McGill, Toronto, Waterloo, Alberta, and Windsor
Anime Institute.
So we collabed with we reached out to all the other anime clubs in Canada and created Canitober. And hopefully this coming year, we've reached out to a lot more and connected to a lot more Ontario anime clubs through like personal DMs and servers and all of that. So hopefully next year's Canadian anime mascot Inktober is going to be much bigger than last year. And because of that, that's why we have so much art of all these different mascots on our art Instagram. It's not just limited to our own school's mascot. But yeah, talking about the mascot, let's talk about who our mascots are. First, a picture. Oh no, okay. Wait, do I have to dress again? Oh, okay. Well. Oh, there it is. Wow, cool. Okay, would you like to introduce our mascots, Paul?
So these are the mascots of the Lower Mainland anime clubs, including Langara, BCIT, KPU, the other anime clubs unfortunately dead, so they are not included here. From left to right, we have Ren, Ayumi, Natsuko, Shani, Tano, and Kani. And I think this picture is from a few months ago, like half a year ago or something, something like that. It's very quick concept sketch. I'm embarrassed that it's up here. But Ren, Ayumi are SFU Anime's mascots. Despite how he looks, Ayumi is a guy. And we actually have Jackie here who is cosplaying.
We have our Ayumi cosplayer.
Ayumi cosplayer, and we've had a cosplay for Shani as well in the past. Natsuko was actually the Summer Festival mascot. Before she was very, very different, but we decided to include her as Ren's older sister. We'll touch on that a bit later. And Shani Tano are UBC Anime's mascot. They were made in, I think, 2014, 2016, something like that. Tano's height here is actually wrong. Odo used the wrong image. In the original bio, they put Tano's height as 175 centimeter, semicolon 5'7". And then I searched it up, and 5'7" is not 175 centimeters. So I had to go back and redraw Tano to stretch him out like that. And Kanye is just short. He's 4'11".
Okay, Kanye's
He's a crab as well. Yeah, that's really cool.
Wrong.
Kanye's from Langara Anime Club. I really like him, even though the club is dead. So I included him here.
All right. So we're gonna start with SFU Anime's mascot. So this is the original Ren and Ayumi designs. The one on the top left is the original design that we used for our banner. It was created after a mascot contest, and we've actually recently just found one of our members in the club that joined during club day said, "Oh yeah, my older sister was the one that created Ren," and we're like, "Wait, what? Your older sister created Ren? That was like 10 years ago." And then you're like, "Yeah, okay." And then I reached out to her, and then I asked her some questions like, "Oh, like how do you start, creating the mascot?" And then she said, I'm just gonna quote or paraphrase here. She found it really fun creating a mascot. Ren's main colors are red and purple. The reason she chose the color red is because of our logo, and also our school colors. And the color purple was inspired by a sunset that she saw from the second floor of the SFU library. And the cherry blossom hairpin was inspired by the trees that she saw in Stanley Park. And then we also have Ayumi on the bottom banner. So Ren was made in like 2012, I believe, through an art contest, and then Ayumi was created in 2014 through another art contest. Unfortunately, we did not find who the original creator of Ayumi is, but hopefully we will one day.
I just wanted to butt in for a little bit. If you didn't know, almost every anime club or anime-related event will have a mascot, and that is very important because waification is a very important cultural aspect of anime fans. And it's very important for an anime club to have this cute girl to attach to. And it's also very important for the marketing of the club. As you can see, all the event graphics we've shown so far included the mascots in some way, shape, manner, or form. And it's also a really interesting way for clubs to interact with each other indirectly because, for example, for our Inktober event, by drawing another club's mascot, you are interacting with them and basically saying, "Hey, I really like your club, I really like your mascot," and then they can do something back with your mascots and have them interact with each other. So I think mascots are very, very cool and interesting, and they were actually the reason I joined the club in the first place. As I said, during quarantine, I had nothing to do, and I was like, what is a Ren and Ayumi? So I just kept drawing, like instead of like, other people are growing their Twitter accounts, drawing like Genshin Impact, VTuber fan art, and there I was drawing Lower Mainland Anime Club mascots, but I'm very passionate about them.
Yeah, and the mascots kind of serve as like, they like me for real. So that's why like Ayumi kind of has like a cult following, right, Jackie? Ayumi's just like us. All right, these are the original Natsuko designs. So again, Natsuko is the summer festival mascot. So she was created before all of the mascots we're talking about today. You can kind of see her design change throughout the years of summer festival. She digressed in age. As you can see, she looks like, like a mature woman in 2011. In 2017 and 2018, she became a child. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, all right. And then we go into our creative directors. So over the years within our exec team, we hired creative directors to create the graphics that Paul mentioned with our mascots in it. So one of the first major creative directors in SFU Anime is Mike, or Area Mike. Their artist tags are in the bottom left, bottom right. The funny thing about Mike was that Mike didn't realize Ayumi was a guy. So as you can see in the left image, Ayumi has boobs, but we'll just call it fake boobs. Mike also did the graphic for Natsuko for the 9th Summerfest, 9th or 8th, 9th Summerfest I believe, and also the flyer as well. And then our next creative director after Mike was Pyro. Okay. Yeah, when Pyro joined the team, she wanted to give a lot more personality to the mascot. So the first thing she did was make Ayumi a guy again, removed his boobs, and make sure people know that Ayumi was a guy, even though the lore behind Ayumi is that he just likes to dress femininely. Okay, sure. Okay, but yeah. So she helped us put mascots in all of our events graphics more frequently. Before Pyro joined the team, we only had maybe mascot art maybe like once a year. And then once Pyro joined the team, it would be like every month, every other month, we'll get to see new mascot art. And that slowly created a cult following within our club about who these mascots are, and they wanted to see more art of our beloved mascot. Oh, and also, Pyro one time just drew Natsuko as an office lady, and then people went, "Auga!" And we decided to incorporate that into our lore. And then here comes Paul.
This was a long time ago. I'm looking at these drawings. The ones on the bottom left, those really blurry sketches, I made those when I was 15. When I first wandered into SFU Anime Club, and I was making these headcanons that I didn't know would soon become canon because I became part of the team. The first thing I noticed, I think when I joined the club, was people discussing that Natsuko, the Summerfest mascot, and Ren looked really similar. So one of the first pieces I drew was how to differentiate between Ren and Natsuko. And I was like, okay, my headcanon is that Natsuko is Ren's older sister, and their personalities are like this, and their hairstyles are like this. And that was my introduction to the mascot cinematic universe, as I like to call it. And then the rest of the graphics are stuff that I've done over the years, mainly for the club. So there's some Valentine's graphic, that's the club banner. If you were at our booth, you might have seen it. The membership card and some other pieces here and there. I guess one of the first things that I wanted to do for the mascots was to make their design more consistent. Because something that I realized in past event graphics, especially with Ayumi, is that every different drawing of him looks different. So I really wanted to solidify the design of the mascots and have them be something that you can recognize, like a popular character from a video game or from an anime, right? And that could really, I see a lot of potential in that, where it can be kind of the face of the club.
So yeah, you can kind of see, like, if we go diagonally, Ayumi's hair kind of changing. It became more like a bun. Like, I think you spent a long time trying to solidify.
I spent a long time designing his hair.
Yeah. On top of that, the impact of this on our community was like huge. First thing, oh yeah, okay, first thing. But people became really interested in the mascot, so we decided to do a mascot lore rewrite. We had a lore of our mascot, like their personalities, what they like. Ren was in this band. She was like super Genki and energetic, and Ayumi was kind of their childhood friend and something like that. So we had lore of the mascots before, but after this like revitalization, we wanted to add more and kind of like recanonize some stuff that the community was putting in. So Natsuko is, because she was the Summerfest mascot, she is actually in lore the chairperson for Summerfest, the person that runs Summerfest, but she doesn't want to do it. She used to be the president of SFU Anime, and then as she graduated and became an office lady, she just got pushed on this responsibility of having to run Summerfest every single year, and she can't find anybody else to take on the mantle. And they're like, Natsuko, we need somebody to, advertise Summerfest. So then, and in universe, they don't have a mascot. So they take pictures of Natsuko and put her on posters, and they use Natsuko as their advertising. The reason why we chose this for Natsuko is because this is based on the actual chairperson of Summerfest, Julian. Julian has been stuck as the chairperson for way too long. I think he's not even retiring now. He's still running Summerfest, even though we're slowly letting him retire. But yeah, it's kind of based on a little inside joke that Julian's been stuck running Summerfest for like 5 years now. And then we also canonized that Natsuko was Ren's older sister.
And an office lady, that's very important.
Yeah, yeah, all right. The other impact of this was that before Pop joined the club, SFU Anime literally thought we had no artists in our club. We were like, our artist community is dead. We only have like 5 active artists. But once Pop joined the club and then started posting her artworks of the mascots in our Discord server, other artists came out and started posting their art as well. And then we decided, oh, we should like, encourage the growth of this artist community and make stuff like art contests where artists can kind of show their work and become a part of the community and kind of engage with the community. And through that, things like Inktober were able to be made and a sudden increase of artists joined the club. So we went from having 0 artists to the club to the artist community being now one of the larger portions of the club. The first art contest we had about like 15, 20 submissions or something like that. It was a lot more than we expected.
That wasn't the first. That was the summer. The summer.
I don't know. It was a long time ago. It was at the start of quarantine.
The summer.
Also, it was during the quarantine, so people had more time on their hands too. But those artists have stayed within the club and have really impacted the structure of the internal exec team, as we'll talk about later. Next, we have Hiram. His takes on Ren, Ayumi, and Natsuko. He's the current creative director. If you come to our booth, you can also see his banner art down here on our booth. Yeah, he's a pretty craft artist, pretty good. He kind of draws them differently every time, but
I hate him because I work so hard to make consistent designs, and he's really good at art, right, objectively, but he'll just go in and like put them in whatever clothes and whatever the pair, and like he'll add like bangs to them when they don't have bangs. He'll just go in and completely change their designs, and yes, it looks gorgeous, but I'm always like,
this isn't Ren.
this isn't Ren.
Ayumi.
That's not Ayumi. What is going on? For the banner on the bottom left, while he was drawing that banner, he showed it to me, and I was like, Ayumi's hair is supposed to be teal. And he said, I'm sorry, I already merged the layers. So that's why on the banner art, his hair is not teal. It is in fact like a bluish purplish color.
Yeah, pretty cool. Hiram also joined the team because of, if you see the art on the top left, the one with the 2021, he entered that as an art contest submission, and then we were like, Hiram, you're really good at art. Do you want to be a creative director? He's like, nah. And then we're like, are you sure? He's like, okay, fine. And then we got him in, and he's been here for 2 years, and he'll probably be here for 2 more years. And then here are some recent works from the club. So basically, after the increase of art from our artist community, we have now a lot of different artists in the club, and usually art takes a long time to do, and we don't want to kill our artists by going like, oh hey, can you make our Halloween graphic in 1 month? Cool, actually in 2 weeks, but cool. Okay, now that you finished the Halloween graphic, can you make our next graphic in like 5 days? And I was like, but I have homework and depression, I don't want to do other art. So now we've decided to create an artist volunteer team. So we have a whole bunch, we have about 6 artist volunteers, I believe, 6 or 7. And they kind of rotate, they sign up to do different pieces for our different events. We have some artist volunteers in our crowd right now. I see one shaking his head. He made some merch actually. We're selling his merch at our booth. I'll talk more about that later. But yeah, so all of these artists have kind of been inspired by Pop and like created the mascots as a way to kind of like the OC original character. Like sometimes you have an idea like, oh, I want to draw a character, but I don't know what character to draw, but I have like a setting and composition and move, but they just use the mascots as a way to do that instead. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, moving on to UBCN.
I didn't do my research. I have no idea what these are. I found them on the archives of the old website and in our old Google Drive. I think the one by Kelly, I think Kelly also designed the mascot for Annie and Bamboo. I took a look at their DeviantArt and I did see like semi art on it. It's pretty cool. UBC Annie started, we were founded a lot earlier than SFU Annie, but we didn't have a mascot until later, until after Summer Festival. And Shani was first made. She's a white-haired girl, you know, bluish, whitish theme. Also in correspondence to like the UBC blue logo and our Onigiri theme. And then Tano was made after Shani, I think about 2 years after. What was the? Let me check the website. I forgot it was the creative director at the time who designed Tano, I think. And their names, I hate to say it.
No, I forgot about this part.
They designed the mascot so that her name is Yubi Shiani, and every time I say it, I cringe internally.
Like the name of the club, UBC.
No! And then Tano's name is Shio Tano, which is pretty normal. But then before on the website, they had another line. They say, if you put Tano and Shiani's name together, it says Tano Shi. And I also deleted that as soon as I became an executive.
The TO note, or translators note, Tano Shi means fun.
No!
Wow, cool.
And these are some of the past graphics that we have over the years. UBC we used to have a lot more graphics than SFU, I would say. Like we had a very, very strong focus on our graphics, and our creative director was expected to complete graphics for each event. And sometimes they would be printed out and used as a marketing material, not just online, but also in person. If you go to our club room, you'll see like some of our old posters and event graphics. And this is since I became an exec 2 years ago, some of the event graphics that I've done. I changed Tano and Shani's design quite a bit because it has been a while since they were redesigned, and I also changed up their bio on the website. And since then, we've gotten a lot of new, like Tano and Shani art with people, using the references on the website and also through our event graphics. And their design has kind of solidified and become a lot more consistent over the years. And yeah, we also, so unlike SVN, we don't have we don't have an internal volunteer system, but we do have something called what's called the Artist Collective, and it's basically artists can apply to join, and they're welcome to, if they have time on their hands, we do listings for graphics that we need, and they can sign up to work on these graphics. So the one on the very left, that's by Josh and Mariki, and then we have one by Ruby on the right. So because of this artist collective system, we're now able to have mascot art for almost all of our events, including the weekly events. So we have events every Friday, and we have a graphic every Friday of our mascots, which is honestly incredible.
All right, the fun part. So this is the Canadian
University mascot, Cinematic Universe.
Otherwise known as CUM. Don't worry about it. So during quarantine, Pop and I, there was a lot of VCs during quarantine. We VC'd every day, and then one day we were like, we should check out the other anime clubs. So then we popped into McGill Anime Club's VC, and they are some of the friendliest people we've ever met. I still keep in touch with them today. But that's when Pop was like, they got mascots.
I'm gonna steal them.
Yeah, so she went to every single most of the Canadian Anime Club mascots, and went into the general chat like, give me your mascots, hands up, I'm gonna take them from you. And then she drew little fan arts of all of them. And a lot of the other Canadian anime clubs don't really have that much mascot art compared to UBC and SFU. Like, you want to talk about how you found the references?
But what's really interesting is that every anime club I've come across has a mascot. But like a lot of times they're just forgotten in the background. Like they're in some like old archive like webpage or whatnot. So sometimes when I join the Discord server and I ask, the first message I send is always, Gun, give me your mascot. And then they'll be like, do we have a mascot? And then some old exec will come on and they'll show like this ancient webpage and it's like, oh yeah, we do have a mascot, but we never made any art of them.
I remember for I think it was Emiko, we looked at a website from like 2000 to 1995.
It was definitely 1990s.
Yeah, it was old, and they have not updated in years. But so Pop kind of came into a lot of different universities and kind of like did an updated revamp of their mascots, a lot of new design. A lot of the clubs were like really, really surprised. They're like, whoa, we have a mascot? Oh wait, they're really cute too. Wow, our club's pretty cool. And then because of that, we eventually created Candytober, and then through Candytober, all of the artists in the club was like, oh wait, I want to draw more fan art of our mascots too, and then all of that got posted on our art Instagram. But the result of that is that now a lot of the Canadian anime universities across that we've collaborated with have created huge artist communities. For example, Utama Art Studio.
That was before.
Oh, okay. But either way, a lot more artists were like kind of interested in the mascots, and a lot of the clubs are now putting a larger focus on expanding their mascots. For example, McGill used to just use the same art for the promotional material over and over again, but now they're creating more art of Yusami-chan. We're running short on time, but you can always check out our mascots at our art Instagram. I'm just gonna do some quick wrap up. SFU Anime is actually having its 10th anniversary this weekend. So if you come to our booth at table 107, we're selling some merchandise made by Kyo and Yomogi. And then, so you can do some pre-orders and pops.
And I also wanted to talk about our upcoming event on March 18th, the Pop-Up Hanami. As you know, UBC Annie has existed before SFU, but every time when someone comes to our panel, they ask things like, do you have a summer festival like SFU? And we say no, but now we do! The Pop-Up Hanami is here. It's a one-day mini convention style event that's Sakura themed. It will feature a cosplay cafe that's staffed entirely by volunteer cosplayers, and they'll be selling desserts, serving drinks, things like that. We also really want to support our artist community, so there will be an artist alley with all of our club artists. So you're going to see things that you've never seen before because this is their first time creating merch and the first time selling their art. Of course, stage performances, games and raffles, all that jazz. And there you have Tano and Shiani over there. Hopefully you got to know the mascots a little better today. And
yep, so feel free to, if you want a little pop-up anime postcard, feel free to come up to the front later, we can give them to you. Or visit us at table 107. We're on the other side of the convention, just vertically or like straight down. Other than that, feel free to follow us on social media. Feel free to take a picture or come to our booth for a little card. We have a lot of different postcards and merch you can pick up for free, like flyers.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah, definitely check out the SFU Anime Art. Oh wait, this should be SFU UBC Anime Art Insta. Both clubs share our Instagram where we post art from our communities. But other than that, thank you everybody for coming to our panel. I hope you learned something new today. If you got any questions, feel free to visit us at our club booth right down that way. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Feel free to come up if you want a pop-up anime postcard. They're very nice. Pop just printed them yesterday.